Yeah, I had to go to the dentist today and thought I'd make it back in time, but so I'm right on the border of where the time changes on mountain time. So
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
yeah. So it's 6 right here.
Okay. I'm glad you made it.
Yes.
You look so different, Elaine.
I
Yeah.
know, isn't it weird like lighting and
I think it's
I'm
more your
always like,
face though. But yeah, the lighting definitely could be playing a
yeah,
role too.
I'm always confused at how I look. Like, do I look like that or I don't know. Everything looks weird. I don't know.
Did you get new teeth?
No, but I didn't
Okay.
have any cavities, and my daughter didn't have any cavities. I was really happy.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Hi, Neil.
Hey.
Hi. All right. Anybody have any questions?
I have a small one.
All right.
Um, so I'm just looking at everyone on the call. Okay. So on yesterday's call, uh, I'll just kind of keep it anonymous. Um, someone, someone's parent, uh, committed suicide, took their life, right? And I noticed that when I mentioned how I felt about it, I said that that was selfish. And what I wanted to know was, is that a judgment or not?
So, yeah, good question. We want to go into feeling. We want to see what's behind it. So, you can make many statements, and they could be judgments or they could be just reporting the details,
Okay,
right?
okay,
So if someone's being selfish and you say, "Oh, they're being selfish," it's not a judgment. That's what they're doing. If you say, "God, they're so selfish. Can you believe how selfish they?" That would be a judgment. So
okay.
it's a lot of the energy behind these things. It makes it very confusing when people meet me because I'll say things like that. They think I'm judging and being mean. It's like, no, you're manipulating. You're you're attacking me. You're being defensive. Well, that's your opinion. Okay, well, just we're defensive. So in this work, we're really trying to ask ourselves, where does it come from? Rather than are those words or is what I did this way or that way. It's the energy. So if you had judgment when you say it, or if it's something that you judge, then there's a high likelihood that when you said that was a judgment. Um, Now it starts getting into, okay, well, objectively, is committing suicide selfish? That opens up a whole other can of worms. Um, so really what you're asking is if it was a judgment, it's going to be a much more fruitful conversation to go into, do you have judgment around that rather than getting into a 4 hour long discourse on whether or not committing suicide is selfish or not. It could be an important conversation, right? There's nothing wrong with that kind of discourse. But for finding out if it's judgment, it's more about you inside than a statement, because you can swear in a very violent way. You can also swear in a very lighthearted, funny way.
Cool. Yeah, that's clear.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm clear on that. Thank you.
Okay. Great.
Andrew, I have an example that we had in a conversation too along that line. And I was telling you that my dad said to me, it it wouldn't um it wouldn't hurt for you to fail, or it would be good for you to fail. I can't remember his exact words. And Neil, when Andrew and I talked about that, there it was like that's actually good advice. But the presentation from my dad was like the way it was said was mean. Like he wanted me to fail. So there's like
That's
just
great.
another example.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, because as we really start doing this work, um, and you find out it's all about feeling. I was working with a client today, like, start finding out it's all about feeling. When you orient yourself not only to feeling, but from feeling, so much confusion and so many of these questions just disappear. Because is this person trying to hurt me? I don't know, feel it. Does it feel like they're trying to hurt you? Or does it feel like not? Easier said than done because the road to get there requires you to get the system up and running. Right? If you're going around unconscious of whether or not you're doing this to other people, you're not going to be able to know. So in cinesomatics, when we start training facilitators to do this work, they have to go through years of the process them first in order to be able to facilitate. Because if you have all these stories, these myths, these beliefs, these distortions, the agendas, the codependencies, the all this stuff going on, you will not be able to accurately perceive what's going on in your clients. The only 100% possible way that I can facilitate this work at this level is because I've gone through almost 15 years of work. You don't have to. There are some people that, by some grace of whatever, don't have a lot of distortions. And so they're on a different process. But a lot of us have a lot of distortions going on. And so as we clean those up, we start to be able to see these things more and more ourselves, and then thus others. So how many of you guys who are my private clients have been doing this work? And as the months have gone on, the things that you've gotten feedback on about yourself, you start to see in yourself, you are now able to see sometimes in other people. Yeah, you've had that experience. Yeah, exactly. um, this is why, right? Because when you can't see it, it runs you. So this is why. That's why in the chapter Dragons and Their Treasures, the A5 process, right? I don't ever call it the A5 process, but it's the A5 process in this book. It's just shadow work, right? It's just so you can remember it. Um, it's not a fancy name. It's just a name so you can remember. They all start with A's. Number one, and it's an order, right? It's not an unordered list, just like the last chapter, the five tenets. It's not an unordered list. Literally, guys, when I go in this book and I type things out, it's not a bulleted list because a bulleted list means there's no matter of order. When it's a numbered list, it means there's an order to it. The reason I say this is because this is how precise this book is. This is not a sloppy language book. Even down to the formatting is precise. How you do one thing is how you do everything. So when you read instructions in here, they're that for a reason. Is it perfect? No. But it's pretty good. If you follow the instructions and if you trust it and if you actually can read it and let it in, it's going to work. But the problem is we have all these distortions, all these filters, all this crazy stuff going on that when we see things like, I don't know, feel, oh, yeah, my feelings. We go into our head and start thinking. Or when we hear the word stop, we think it's to suppress. That's why I have in that chapter, right, the 2 definitions of stop. So much of this work, in the preliminary work, there's many phases of this work. In the beginning phases, to address all of these distortions, these distorted definitions. That's why the synesthetic archetype work is so powerful and important, because not only are we working on it on a logical level, but we're working on it somatically, your definitions of these things in the body, which is what actually gets you your results. So when you hear on step 1 here, awareness, without awareness, you can't do any of this. Awareness is not the most important thing, but it's the first important thing. So as you become aware of this in yourself, you're able to do the rest of this. When you start being able to be aware of this in yourself, you start to be aware of it in other people. And that begins that process of it not running you. And when it's not running you anymore, and you clean up your triggers or traumas and all this stuff, it's when other people do it, it's not going to run you. How many times have you been on a call with me or in some of the group work and you or somebody is like acting out or doing something? I'm like, okay, stop. That's okay. You can get angry. That's fine. You're being defensive. Okay. Oh, how dare. You don't see me reacting. The only possible way I could do that, there's 2 ways. To be fake stoic, disconnected, numbed out, dissociated, not caring, or having cleared all this up, letting it in, feeling it, and not taking it personal. It's 2 very different experiences, both as me and as the person receiving it. One person feels checked out, nothing affects them. They don't care about anything. They've shut it all off. They've walled up. The other one is penetrable. It's permeable. All right. Okay, great. You stabbed me. All right, cool. So, what's going on? That is so much more powerful than oh my God, how dare you? I can't believe it. Why did you do this? Oh my God. Ah. You can extrapolate that to every different situation in life. Oh, someone rejected me. Oh, did they? They just said no? Is it because you're unlovable or is it just because they're busy? You just keep going. Money, relationships, intimacy, all this stuff. So as you do this work for yourself, you start to be able to handle other people's stuff more. Make sense? Yeah. Cool. What else?
I have a question about something.
Sure.
The difference between establishing boundaries and then making it all about us. Because by its very nature, it feels like boundaries can feel already like that to me. So kind of having some distinction between those 2, I think would be really helpful.
Okay. Well, by default, by default, the question sounds like you have those mixed wired. Not going into feedback or anything here. But just from hearing that, to elaborate on it, but boundaries aren't about you, just you. They're about other people. Imagine if I didn't have boundary on my skin and I walk up to you and blood is just gushing all over you. Imagine if there's no boundaries down below and everybody's just pissing and shitting all over everybody. Right? That's like an extreme version of it. But the reason we would think that setting boundaries is all about us is that if there would have to be something about our own value, our own worth. That would be the first place I would go with that. Because having self-worth and self-respect and self-love and all this stuff, I don't feel that setting boundaries is the same as making it all about us. I set boundaries for other people sometimes. I do it in this work. I say, listen, this might not be fun, right? You might want to hold on that. You might want to, you see me in the group work where I'm setting boundaries, not for my own good, but for the facilitation of the group's good. That's a very specific role, right? You don't start managing people's boundaries in social situations. This is a therapeutic structure, so I'm responsible for that process. But that's an example of setting boundaries that don't have anything to do with me. Because go ahead, attack that person, be jealous, do all that, sabotage the space. Go ahead. I'm not upset by it. But in order to facilitate the group, that requires being able to not only do I is a next of a level. Not only do I have to be aware of what my boundaries are and safe and confident in them, but I have to feel everyone else's boundaries. And then I'm also connecting and feeling what other people's boundaries are. And the next step further, because I can feel and I operate that way, I can feel if somebody doesn't have good boundaries. And so I have to, not I have to, but I choose to be responsible about that. Okay, this person is just going to let me walk all over them. I don't want to do that. So I have to sort of set those up out of graciousness, not superiority. You could do it out of superiority. Say, I know better than you. Don't do this, right? You have some like older siblings doing this, or maybe parent tyrants do that. I know it's better than you. I'm going to tell you what you can't do and not do and all that stuff. So it can become tyrannical. So I'm just giving all these different reference points before getting into like real definition of the difference. Because for me, I feel that just those examples say, oh, okay, why I give a lot of reference points like this? People are like, you give all these examples and reference points and you talk about this person. Because when you get enough reference points, what you start to do is triangulate on the truth. You start to, what's the thread? Okay, oh, this one, when you're a tyrant, feels like this. When you're self-aware and aware of others and you're being gracious, it feels like this. Oh, what's the difference? What's the similarity? And you get enough of those and you start to say, okay, this part is boundaries. All these other differences are all these other differences. So when you ask about the difference between making it all about us and boundaries, feeling into each of those things feels, I don't say very different, but feels different to me. One, making it all about us, just based off the wordage. Now, in reality, it might look different. So when we do cinesmatics, we say, all right, show me making it all about you. And it might look like you're just taking care of yourself. Or it might look like you're in shame and guilt. It might look whatever. And if I say, all right, show me setting boundaries, it might look like you building a wall up. It might look like you being selfish. It might look like just putting your hand out, saying no. It could, whatever it is. So through cinesomatics, that is a much more bespoke, right? It's individual to each person and how they're relating to those two things. Um, when I go into that, making it all about me through my definitions would feel narcissistic, which would imply, yeah, maybe a selfish, like a toxic selfishness, a, you know, persona, a mask, objectification, all these things in the book. Then when I go into boundaries, I immediately think of self-respect and respect of others. So if the intention is self-directed, such as protecting ourselves, um, getting our needs met, um, if the energy feels like this, that's going to be making it about us. Whereas if we set healthy boundaries, it's just about self-respect. It's not, oh my God, I'm missing something. You need to do this. Stop doing this because it's not meeting my need. That's not what boundaries are. Boundaries are about respect and communication and, uh, you know, permeable, separation and perimeters and setting things in place and relating to each other. Making it all about us is about trying to get some need met. Now you can have like a similar thing, like maybe you set boundaries because you have a need for safety. Sure. But are you doing it so here could be another thing. Are you doing it at the expense of somebody else? When you set boundaries, there's healthy boundaries also have a consideration of the space and others. If you set boundaries by creating traps everywhere, that's not a healthy boundary. Either verbally, emotionally, or literally, if you just think about like, all right, don't cross this line. Here's a moat with alligators, with laser beams, hot lava. That's you're really trying to keep something out. You don't really have a concern for anybody else. It's just about your safety. Are there moments in time if you've struggled with that where momentarily only focusing on your safety because that's so neglected and you're in like danger need zone? Absolutely. In those moments, you don't have enough extra space or energy to worry about anyone else. This is why in the book, when I talk about narcissism, self-help, personal development, persona development, one of the ways we get stuck, kind of side note, is that we are doing that. We're making it all about us, our healing, our healing, our healing, our healing, our growth, all this stuff. One of the solutions is in the chapter, life's not just about you. But you can only really get there when you're not pre-consumed with yourself. And if you're in like life support, whether that's emotionally, safety, whatever it is, you aren't going to have those extra resources to be so concerned about people in fucking Uganda, right? That's why most philanthropists and charities are ran by wealthy people because they have extra resources and money to do that. There's very few people in poverty and struggling that are setting up billion-dollar charities. It doesn't mean anything, but it's just an easy example to see, okay, one does not have all their resources set, so there's little space for caring about others. You know what I'm saying? And then the other, that cup's filled and it's overflowing, and it can start making it about other people too. there's a certain little point in there where you can still not have that cup full, um, and then you start switching to making your life about other people. That can really be successful. But just like in airplanes, when they say, if there's an event and the masks drop down, put the mask on everybody else except you, and then in 5 minutes you're dead. No, they don't say that. They say put the mask on yourself first so you're alive, then help people. So if we're in that state, that's fine. If we're not, all these other things apply. So lots of zigzagging there, but hopefully there's something in there that helps you in some way.
Yeah, I
Lots
think
of different scenarios. Go ahead.
yeah, I think the problem for me has been that I've made things all about other people, and then the self-help thing, it's like, oh, you make it all about yourself, and so then the safety thing is like self-preservation, and so I end up kind of just swirling in all of that, and it's hard to figure out what's what sometimes.
You're making a differentiation. Yeah. So this is a big thing, is that there's no one else out there. You're creating the separation between taking care of others and taking care of yourself. This is getting a little more spiritual, but if you understand this, right? If you can't take care of yourself, how are you going to take care of other people? It's very similar to, it's different, but similar to, I'm such a good lover. I just love so much. I love other people. I'm just so great at love, except for myself. Yeah, I can't love myself, but probably heard people like this say things like this. Oh, I'm so good at giving to everybody else except me. Right. Martyrdom 101. It's
Mhm.
a scam. It's not true. How do I know? Well, I read a book and some theory when I was no, in cinesomatic sessions with clients, I see what happens when people do that. And it is self-evident. Oh, you can't give. Well, you're out of relationship with giving. Okay. Well, what happens when someone gives to you? Well, if you're out of relationship with giving as a whole, you're also going to be out of relationship when someone gives to you. So you're flip-flopping, but it's like you're still caught in the martyrdom archetype. You're just on either side of it.
Mhm.
All about others or all about yourself. It's the same coin, different sides.
Yeah, that
Okay.
feels very accurate. Thank you.
Yeah.
Feel like a uh since doing this work and then with my kids and my job, I don't have the time to like have friends or so sometimes it feels like it is all about me, but I feel that I need that time right now to
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
You do have time for friend Elaine. We see you a few times a week, every week.
Yeah, we're chopped liver.
I know, y'all are my best friends. I really have trouble trying to get other friends and it's just that I feel so I don't know, it doesn't come natural. It's not like, oh, I want to go do this, like I want to be on the calls, it's just doesn't flow and I'm always wondering, is it me or
So the question is, do you actually care or do you feel like you should care? Because because I don't care about going out and meeting fucking random people at bowling alleys and bars and sports events. I'd rather do
yeah.
this.
Yeah, I don't really care. I just had developed a friendship with a girl like recently. She's my age and I always feel like, oh gosh, I haven't texted her in a week or two. I'll text her, but then I'm like, oh, I probably ruined that. She probably thinks I don't know. And I
Well,
told her,
now you're
yeah,
talking about a bunch of other stuff.
okay.
Yeah. That's
I don't feel
so,
like I
so,
have enough to
so this,
give.
so this other stuff at the end of it is more stuff that
Okay.
is going on for you. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
We can look at that on a call. Yeah. All right, just clients here on the call. All right. Well, your guys' your guys' win.
I don't know about you, Elaine, but I struggle to want to connect with anybody except this group because the depth that we can get to is so much higher, and like other relationships feel so much more superficial now. It's like I've got this contrast going on as far as what's possible and what people are willing to do. It's like,
Yeah, it's listen, this is why I made it. I mean, you can imagine, even for me, it's just like, not even for me, but for me, it's like, Jesus, there's not many people that understand how I go through the world. The one person who did is dead. And trying to catch other people up to speed is, it's it's a process. But yeah, that's why, I made the group and um I like to have people, because what we talk about in the book is just, it's not normal people conversation. It's one of the reasons why these groups are smaller. It's like, out of tens of thousands of people that have my book, who actually wants to show up and in a group, share, ask, be vulnerable. So you guys might not realize how courageous you actually are, even to just show up. There's hundreds of thousands of invitations sent out to join these calls, and whoever's here is meant to be here. And it's it's a really really special thing to have a community of, even if it's three people, a little more is better, but just intimacy, realness, vulnerability, and no drama, no bullshit. And if it comes up, right, you have somebody that's going to take care of it and address it. And we're all growing and we're helping each other. I mean, just even that, like, how many friend groups and communities have people that are actually trying to help each other, and themselves, of course, but betterment, just to become better. We're a little past just becoming better, like on the other side of that. But just even that concept, people who are willing to tell the truth. It's the five tenets. Find a group of people that are willing to stop all their bullshit, that are willing to feel, tell you the truth, that are responsible, that aren't being victims, and actually make new choices and grow and change in their life and show up different. You guys can see. Heather, you joined later and you got to see over the months how people changed. You'll see even in the next few months during this process how people show up. It won't be linear. Some people will be like, "Oh my God, I'm totally fixed." Yeah, I was like, "Okay, see you in a few weeks." you know, Everybody's different. Everybody's on a different path, and we're all kind of intermingling and intertwining. And when Heather's up here, then Neil flings through there, and then Darun, and then Holly and Elaine go be this, and then Mauricio, and then me and Hannah and Alec and everybody else. It's beautiful. There is something behind the scenes there's an energy, there's an intelligence that's doing all of this. I'm just facilitating it. You notice I keep saying facilitator rather than like boss or master. You can call me master if you want. That feels pretty good. But facilitator. Right? Because there's something going. Something. It was perfect. I mean, we had this experience, Arun and I, on a call today. There's just the amount of love and the amount of support here in this work that we can't see, that we don't realize. Even I don't realize, like, oh, that's why I asked that. Oh, well, I didn't know that here. So there's there's something much bigger happening, um, and we're all very blessed to be a part of it. So here we are.
I experienced that, Andrew, at the end of a call. Things are just happening during the call, they're happening. And then at the end, when you look back at the whole thing and you can see the, like, like this, right? Like he said this, made her say that to led to this. However, the whole call was a theme. Like if you go and you look at it, the whole call was a theme. And I've seen it not just
Yep.
in yesterday's call, but in the call before and the call before and the call before, particularly those fellowship ones. Like they are next level when it comes to those
Yeah.
dot connecting.
Yeah. Now, and I'm following the energy in that. So I'm saying, oh, okay. I can feel, right? I feel, oh, what's going on with this person? There's people that are just sort of, sitting there going at their own pace, and that's fine. And sometimes I invite them in and they say yes or they say no. I say, okay. Those are soft invitations. So what gets triggered in this person? I'm like, okay, that's my client, and I know this person is working on with that. Oh, today we had a call about this thing. Hey, why don't you share that? Because that's going to be very helpful for this person. So it's a mix. There is that energy that's orchestrating everything, and there's also me feeling in between. Okay, I know where to take this and go, but really, that's ultimately like me trusting, right? There's me trusting that feeling and intuition of, okay, and it always works out. I've I've learned so much to just trust it. Once in a while we'll have a hiccup. That's if I second guess myself or I'm in my head or something like that. But most of the time, man, it's just wow. Like I was on a session today and I had a little thing. I got self-conscious. And it was amazing because what I did was exactly the thing we were working on. That's what they asked me about. And so they're like, well, what happens when I do this on the call? Like, should I do this on the fellowship or blah, blah, blah? And then, yeah, 10 minutes later, I'm talking about something else. I'm talking about facilitating. And then I feel like I'm talking too much, making it about me. And then I say, okay, well, let's go back to you. And they're like, actually, that was really helpful. I really valued what you just shared. Like, oh, well, that's literally the inverse of what you asked me about 15 minutes ago. And so even though I had my little imperfect moment. I don't know what the fuck this is. This is like not really this, but it's a little this. It worked out perfectly, and I was okay with it. I just trusted and surrendered, and within 2 seconds, I was like, "Oh my God, I just recreated the very thing." And then that gave them a reference point of what it feels like to feel grateful and see the value in somebody else talking about themselves. And that difference between making it all about them versus not. So it goes back, everything serves, even what doesn't. Right? Being self-conscious, talking about ourselves all the time doesn't really serve. But when you're in this energy, it does, because it's going to reveal something. That was like, I mean, it was like perfect. Like I could not have planned it. It was amazing. And so when we're on the fellowship calls and when we're in the group work and when you're in your lives, Jonathan, where is he? He made this post We're going to talk about his posts, and he didn't come. Jonathan, your post, you're here in the replay if you're watching this. Your post today, about being afraid of messing it up or doing it wrong. This is one of the reasons why. Because when you make a mistake and fuck it up and do it wrong, it's going to move other people forward. So it's like, fuck it up, get messy. It takes tremendous, listen, it takes tremendous courage. I've fucked up things so much. I've been fucking blamed for things I shouldn't have been blamed for and things that were my fault. I fucking took it for 3 years working for my mentor. He was, you guys don't know what hard is. All of his assistants quit. Like he could not keep employees. Um, and so yeah, I know what it's like to be the person in the group that's constantly being used as the what doesn't work example. Oh, yeah, you see what he's doing? Yes, you don't want to do it. It wasn't quite that way, but so this doesn't work, right? This is narcissistic, and you see how this person is doing this. It's not a comparison between people. There was no judgment of who we are. It was the behaviors. It was reference points for behaviors. And so, because I was one of the biggest fuck ups, because I was one of the most dysfunctional people in all of the groups, and because I still showed up and kept doing it and broke through at the end, I also became one of the most functional and mastery of this work and this process. If I was average and mediocre, probably wouldn't have. I have told certain people, I'm like, if you finish this, if you come through this whole process after years and you facilitate this, you're going to be better than me. You're so fucked up. I'm kidding. But right? It's like, man, you are really struggling with these things. Once you can break this, you're going to be such a good teacher. You'll be a better teacher at it than me because what you have had to learn and to get through and to understand and to heal and to move through gives you more earned embodied wisdom. So we're so afraid of failing. We're so afraid of making mistakes and messing up. That's where all the fucking gold is. Sometimes when you get it there, it's coal and you need time to turn it into diamonds. But it's all there. You know, you go out into the world, people that don't make any mistakes, take any risks, don't have any failure. You want to know what their lives look like? Now, just because you fuck it up, do it wrong, make mistakes, and fail, doesn't mean you're going to succeed. How dare you, Andrew? Why would you tell us that then? There's no guarantees. This is why this work also is about becoming highly functional. It's like one of the only modalities that I really know that has both a path of healing and understanding, psychology and trauma and emotions, right? All this stuff, this healing path, but it also has the how do you become more functional path? How do you actually show up in the world and do these things? How do you in your body go from right to something bigger, whatever it is? And also a third quasi-optional spiritual path, awakening path. Because it's like eventually you just kind of realize that it's all spiritual. We don't, I don't spend a lot of time talking about energy and all the angels and then the Palladians, and it's all distraction. It's all nonsense. It's not It's if it is it true? Maybe. It's not going to help you here. So we do what actually works, what actually has results. So many people get caught up in, well, am I a star seed? Do I come Pallades? Well, that must explain why I don't have any money. Oh, well, if I only came from a different star system, oh, I need to ascend and channel in order to, well, money's not important. Jesus Christ. Been there, done that. Listen, I can do it so good because I wasn't quite that far off. Um,
Where can I find more information about that, Andrew?
well, YouTube is a great place. TikTok, Instagram. Yeah. Yeah, you could look up teenage astrology pagan witches. Um, and you might get some good insights from them. Or
There we go.
anybody, another good one is anybody that says they've downloaded codes. Yeah, so just look for people who have gotten codes downloaded by even better aliens or ascended masters. They got codes.
This girl at the farmer's market had runes for sale if you're,
Yeah, yeah, those are
really
cool.
wanting to.
Yeah.
She wouldn't sell them to me even though I didn't want them because she didn't have all of them. But just if you want to try that.
Did you say runes?
Runes.
Oh, runes. Okay, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Might need to put me in touch with her. Holly.
There's now the challenge is that there's some stuff out there that actually is really, really good, but has been completely hijacked, right? Like tarot. Um, in the advanced work, we work with tarot and these symbols a lot, and they are amazing. It's not at all what you see on TV or on YouTube, or anything, or at your local psychic fair. It is imagine cinesomatics, but instead of looking at your movement, you're looking at these symbols. It's very, very powerful. And then the dream work. So there's things that teeter into what seems a little wacky. Um, but the difference is that they became perverted and diluted after the legitimate stuff. So everything serves, even what doesn't. There's wackadoodle stuff that got me here. So Mauricio, you're chomping on the bit. What do you want to say? You got something for us?
Yes, I have a question actually, Andrew,
Oh.
and that is and,
Come
and
on,
that is
you don't have a lead for us?
uh so my question is
Sheep's
you
blood?
mentioned what is that?
Oh. Sheep's blood?
Yeah.
He's not biting, guys. He's a tough cookie. He really wants his answers. You don't want to play?
So, so
Yeah, that's we got the all right, come on. Let's hear it. What's the question?
uh I forgot. No, I'm kidding. So 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 you mentioned three parts, and my question is if it is the actual levels of this work, because you said the healing part, and then you say becoming functional, and then you said the spiritual and enlightenment part. So would you say the healing part of this work is level one, then becoming
Nope.
functional level
Nope.
two, and then spiritual?
It's not level. It's just aspects of it. It's like three wires in a cable.
Mm, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not in order. No. It's a very non-linear process. Because let's say it takes you a year just to stop being defensive, and 15 months to just fucking feel and figure this stuff out. Say, oh, this is what's happening. In a year, you guys are gonna be like, oh, this is what's really going on. And then 2 years later, you say, oh my God, this was so much more than I even knew that it was. Um, uh, let's see, Darun, I think you've been working with me longest. You know, share a little bit about that experience of how, I mean, you were just coming back to like choice and responsibility and needs, you know, so you're coming, not coming back, but it sounds like basic beginning stuff, but you're starting to reach it in a whole new level that you weren't ready to 2 years ago. If you'd like to share, just a little brief.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Um, yeah, so I've been doing this work for like just over a year and a half, and it was only like maybe 3, 4 months ago that I just really started to feel. And I was wondering why everyone else had taken off and I just could not feel. And I finally just broke it. And I was like, oh my goodness, I started to feel. And so all the fundamental concepts that we were just talking about, um, I didn't know how to tell the truth, like, because it was conceptual truth that I had in my mind. Okay, this is objectively right. And this is what Neil, like Andrew was telling you, like we can go objectively. And I knew all the conceptual definitions. I really identified with my intelligence and so all of that. But I didn't know what it felt like to be truthful because I couldn't feel. I haven't felt a sense of truth. I didn't know how it felt to have a mask on or no mask on, and like in the first few fellowship calls, had all these orders of masks that I was running, and I didn't know because I couldn't feel it. It just felt like that was just normal, and so feeling actually unlocked all of this. And even yesterday, Holly, you mentioned a note on, do you know what your needs are and how to ask for them? And we were discussing the call this morning, and I was like, oh my God, like asking for my needs. I don't want them. Like, and I felt disgusted. And we played through the archetypes of asking for my needs, and I realized, holy shit, I don't even know what the definition of needs are. And it became like, oh my goodness, now I'm in a place of able to feel. I can actually come back to basic fundamentals, and I just likened it to, oh my goodness, I'm teaching my daughter A, B, C, this is color. It literally felt like I needed to go back from the start, but from a completely different place. Um, Learning what truth is, learning what a need is, learning. I just had no idea what the definition was. I had a conceptual abstraction of what it is, but they weren't grounded in reality.
A direct experience. Yeah.
Yeah, direct experience. It was just all in my head.
It's a difference between knowledge and knowing.
Yeah, the Darun, you made me think of this term that Andrew's used before, earned wisdom. And just today, my session with him, I was just really feeling kind of the difference between knowledge versus the earned wisdom, you know.
Oh, Neil.
Thank you. um,
Was that the trigger, you know?
I'm trying to stop the you knows.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hypnotize him every time he says it. Wait.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to say. I think that I had confused learning knowledge with wisdom in a way. And now I see so much more clearly that you have to earn it through feeling and healing.
And your
And
value, right? It was attached to your value too.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, value.
So I want to make one little point on that, because when people hear earned, there's certain connotations. So it's simply just the opposite of unearned wisdom, right? You get like Lao Tzu, the Tao Te Ching, you get something like that. You get the Bible, you know, you get these really powerful texts, and that's earned wisdom. That's somebody who's experienced it. That's like real versus somebody who then just reads 10 layers of iterations of those sources and other things and just says, oh, yes, you can't get thorns from thistles, grapes from thorns, whatever it is,
Mm.
right? Or how come when they have like 1,000 different fucking trait sayings, like none of them come up? Um, or how many people that have signs that says live, love, laugh, and they don't fucking do any of them, right? Yeah, or screech, kill, fuck, whatever it was. Um,
Scream, kill, fuck.
scream, fuck, kill, yeah, die,
Scream,
or whatever
kill.
it is.
Yeah.
Self destruct. So it it's really it's not about because we don't want to go down a path of saying attach because if you start attaching value and worth to earning, there's a certain burden. There's a certain you kind of get what I mean? Like if you misinterpret the earn part, like, oh, you need to earn love,
Oh no.
right? It's not that. You just simply mean not earned. For you, you're meaning just simply you have to go through the experience yourself. You have to go through it yourself. When you go through it yourself, then you've quote unquote earned it. It's something that's been in you. It's like somebody who talks about relationships. And they're like, "Oh yeah, when you after a heartbreak, you do this and that." It's like, "Well, have you ever been heartbroken?" No. They might have a couple interesting, cool things to say. They're a researcher or something. They might have, you know, there, there's a little bit you could probably get from them, but you're not going to feel that. They're not going to have empathy for you. They're not going to understand what you've gone through.
Is it walk the talk?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, yeah, that's exactly what that means.
What was that, Mauricio? Could you repeat that again?
Yeah, I said it is the walk the talk, what they call
Yeah.
walk the talk. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. And that's if you're preaching it. But even if you think it, the difference between I never really said it that way before, but when I said it earlier, the difference between knowledge versus knowing, it's it sounds subtle, but it's a big difference. And then the difference between believing and knowing. Remember, guys, this work is not belief based. How many times do we say, all right, I need you to believe this. All right, believe this. Just believe in it. Just hope this will work. Believe me. Believe in this thing. Almost zero. It's not belief based. It's results based. It's also not evidence based, which is like, all right, well, I'm going to wait till 20 peer review studies come out to tell me that this works. No, you just look at it, you experience it, you feel it. Where do results come from? They don't come from your head, they come from what actually is happening out in the world. That's why the embodiment's so powerful because when you do these things, it shows you what's actually happening, what's going to show up.
I've been having a thing with those words with work, Andrew. Like I've all of a sudden, because of this work, been very aware of when I write emails to people and I write, I think we should do this. Then I see the word think, I believe we should do this. I feel we should do this, right? Like now I'm really very aware of the wording that I'm using when I send emails to work colleagues.
So there is a chapter, gosh, where is it? Um, where I give a list of like least to most empowering words. Does anybody know what here it is? No. You know what chapter that's in?
I don't remember, but Heather, I was gonna say that something else I noticed too with emails is if it gets too long, and
You know?
not myself, if it gets too long and I'm looking at it and I'm seeing, oh wow, there's quite a lot of story here. And then change it, and it's like, really, that just needed to be like 2 sentences.
That's good.
Awareness there, Neil. Pick that up yourself.
What's that, Darun?
Great awareness there. You picked that up yourself. Wait, actually, I got it.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's shocking sometimes when I'm taking that whole email and deleting it, and I'm like, okay, really, there's just 2 sentences of what I'm actually trying to say here.
Yeah, cutting out the noise. Page 28. Page 28. I got
Uh,
385.
no, I thought that you were saying identity, feeling, belief, and
Oh, no.
no.
No, think so. It's not actually in choice. Um, an easy way to discover our choices or non-choices is by paying attention to what we say. The words we use define our world. God, I could do a whole fucking video on that sentence. The words we use define our world. That is so powerful. Your words construct your reality. If you have sloppy words, you have a sloppy life. If you have distorted definitions of your words, you're living a distorted life. Elaine, what's this face?
I just find that so powerful. And I even find how things are written. Like if you see signs in a store and they're written sloppily, it gives off something. Whereas if you see beautiful calligraphy, it gives off a whole nother vibe. And
Yep.
I see a lot of society it just being like slop and
Yeah.
it makes, it's just but yeah, it's just so
It's how
beautiful.
you do one things, how you do everything. You can feel the difference between the energy and love put into calligraphy versus somebody's fucking wacky kid that they just told him to do, and he's not getting paid, and he's just going, "Oh yeah, for $5," and
Is it because we're making choices in choosing our words and saying this? Is that
it
why
is what because of it.
our words construct our reality, our words, the power of
Finite.
our words?
It's yes, that's one aspect. That's a really good point because you're choosing. This is in the chapter choice, right? So you're choosing the words
Mm.
to say. Also, right? If I say this is car, we're in trouble.
Distortion of reality.
Yeah, you look at, oh, rich people are evil. That's defining a lot of world. Humans are poisoning the planet. Okay, well, humans are bad. Okay. That's constructing a whole paradigm because those are connected to a worldview inside your mind. And then in this work, it's also connected to a somatic and embodied relationship. So through the systematics, we've fucking supercharged that whole thing like a, magician. There's ways like in neurolinguistic programming, there's ways to use the language and change your language, and it starts changing your reality. So we do that kind of thing here. Our secret weapon with it, how we do it, is that it has to come from feeling. We attach everything to feeling, whereas in NLP and hypnosis and those kind of things don't have any weight to the body or feeling. It's just the head. I'm a board certified trainer, master practitioner and trainer in NLP, so I know. I don't talk about it because that was 15 years ago, and um, it's just missing a lot of pieces. But it got that one right, is that our words really, really powerful. Go ahead, Heather.
I just want to say we can call you Master, Andrew.
I will not say no.
Sensei.
Yeah. No labels here. Starts things. Yeah, when people come in and start doing these things, yeah, it gets a little weird. So I was saying, words define a reality. So imagine just the difference between saying, they'll never like me, versus saying, I want to find out if they like me. Still not amazing. We're not talking about high level amazing here. Just one little shift in saying it. Both of them is true. You don't know if this person likes you or not. Oh, they're never going to like me versus I wonder if they will like me. I don't think that's even the best questions to ask. But if we're just looking at a really low level sort of view, just shifting that around changes. Now you start thinking more powerful stuff versus this is where affirmations, right? People talk about affirmations come in. You start saying, I am statements. I am loved. I am lovable. I am enough. Nothing wrong about those, except nobody connects it to feeling. Nobody has a process to actually. Well, there's some people that do like muscle testing and subconscious work, and some of that's okay. Um, some of it's good. Um, but when you are consistently and constantly saying things that are disempowering, you're going to have that experience in your life. You you're asking this such a funny question because you had this experience on our call today. Just you changing. Yes, you.
Okay, right. Yep.
Yeah, you were asking the question, right? So you had the experience of just saying want versus need. And what transformation happened just by you speaking one word differently. So that's the power right there. You change that one word, your whole life is changing from today.
That's so true. For context, everyone, I struggled to actually say I need um, to be hugged or loved, and I said I wanted to, but it wasn't a want. I just couldn't say need, and I was avoiding the word need, and I need something in every aspect of my life, and it was just an optional want. But yeah, that's
Yeah. And so
the context.
imagine people's lives, someone who has a life where love and respect and needs are needs and they need them versus someone who thinks all those are optional. Exact twins, whatever. Guess whose lives are going to look very different. That's the power of one word. Now, it's not the word itself, it's the double click, what that unlocks to everything. But it's also the dam. It also what broke you through. Right? You had to say the word, just like on the fellowship, you had to share what you shared and actually say it to have the breakthrough. If you just kept it in and were vague, you wouldn't have had the breakthrough. There's something about speaking it, right? Opening this energy center and being seen in it and vocalizing it. I've had so many experiences where, here's an easy one, right? You're dating somebody new and you really like them and you actually love them. And that first time you go to say, I love you, right? Something going on there. There's something about speaking it. So when we do somatic work, most of the time I say don't speak. The reason for that is because I want your expression of it to come through movement rather than shortcut it through words. There are other times where you have to speak because there's something that you need to speak out. This needs to turn on. Something has to come out. It's a different context. So for you, there was something that by the willingness to speak that and say it and own it and be heard in it, you had a breakthrough. So that's one, two, three, however many things, beyond just the average of like, this is a boy, this is a girl. No, this is a Kwang and this is a Hajido, and there you literally start redefining reality. You create massive suffering and confusion. If all of a sudden we just start picking different words for different things, there's chaos. Now, it might be like, oh, we're changing this word, and it takes like 5 generations, for that new name of the city or the mountain or whatever to come through. That's not what we're talking about. It doesn't change reality. But when you say people can be cats, we have a problem. There's a fundamental breakdown in society and structure. When you're not allowed to speak, when you don't have freedom of speech, horrendous, dangerous. So speech itself, different from language, the words we use, but the speech itself is a whole nother part of it too.
My girls have been saying, now the thing to say is it's thick. And it's thick means it's cool.
What is it?
Oh, it's sick. Means it's cool.
Yeah,
and
you're so
like,
cute, Elaine. That's like 20 years old.
oh,
Yeah.
darn. Oh, God. Okay, well,
but
I
it's
can't believe you didn't use it.
But it's
how do you?
But it's a good point,
Yeah.
right? I'm just poking you a little bit. Oh, bro, that's so sick. Yeah, there's stuff like that. Well, it creates confusion. Now, some of it's fine, right? Like you shorten words, or there's new jargon, there's slang. Slang's one thing. But some of it's not. If the word you keep using is sick and nasty and gross, and that all is supposed to be cool, good, and hot, there's going to be some issues. Like, I don't just say once in a while, oh, bro, that's sick. You know that means that's cool. But it's at some point, you've heard people say things like, oh, it's just a matter of speech. Oh, to be honest, or, these sorts of things. There's can be stuff inside.
I remember my sister saying, this was a long time ago, my sister saying, oh, I need a break. Oh, I need a break. And she literally broke her toe. She jumped into the pool and broke her toe and got the break she was looking for.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Powerful.
Yep. Really, really powerful. We don't realize the power that we have. So, dismiss pseudoscience, whatever. Yeah, well, good luck. Let me know. You want to keep talking about how poor you are and how bad things are and how nothing will ever work out with you. Let me know how that goes, and I'll be with the people that are saying everything's working out for them, and every day things are getting better, and it's like, in order to make that jump, though, right? That's kind of where this stuff comes in. How do you make the jump between feeling like you're telling the truth, right? Because then if you say, what about truth and integrity? Well, I don't feel like I'm enough. So why do I say it? Well, that's why affirmations pretty much don't work. The magic is when you say, all right, I'm enough. What do you feel? What comes up? When you say, I'm not enough, what comes up? Those are the blocks, those are the things to heal on the path to being able to say those things in integrity. Did
Gosh,
you did
so
that happen
spot
with you, Neil, today? Didn't that
on.
happen with you today?
Did what happen?
Excuse me, what I just said.
I was okay. I
You're
mean,
thinking of someone else. Say what you're gonna share.
I was just gonna say that you're so spot on about the affirmations and the NLP, and the problem being that it's not tied to feeling,
Yeah,
you know?
I do know. Do you know?
I can't help myself.
Oh, what if you could? What if you could help yourself? Yeah. What if you said, I can help myself? What if you say, I'm helping myself?
I like that. I
Yeah.
am helping myself.
Yeah.
I have progress.
So Andre, I have a question
Yes.
about the want and need. Do you think that, or do you feel that the choose word is more powerful? Like instead of saying I want this or I need this, saying I choose this.
Yeah. That's the whole point of what I was originally looking at here. It's in the book. All right, we'll answer your question with exactly what I was wanting to do. The words we use define our world, right? So you guys see how much we can go into just that one sentence. We did 45 minutes on that one sentence. Whether we speak them aloud or say them to ourselves in thought, we are constructing our own version of the world with words. There are many tells which expose the truth of our conviction. Feel the difference in certainty each of these phrases conveys. Say each one aloud and feel the response in your body, right? So this one doesn't have I choose, but we have things like it's impossible, it never will, it won't, I can't, it didn't, it was supposed to, it could, it might, I hope, I'd like to, I want, it's probable, it's likely, I think it will, it hasn't yet, it will, it is happening, I have, it is, it did, I had. So that's not 100%, but mostly progressive from least empowering, least likely to happen to most, right? If you get to the end, right, you feel that transfer over from it will to it is happening, right? You switch tenses. You make a temporal switch from into the future into the now. And if it is happening now, it means it's true, right? It's happened. Everything else, we don't know if it's true or not. We know some things that aren't. It's impossible. It never will. It won't. It can't. It didn't. It was supposed to. That we all know for certain is never, right? That's Wayne Gretzky's you miss 100% of the shots you never take kind of thing, right? Then we switch over to possibility. It could, it might. I hope. I'd like to. I want, right? It's a possibility. Then we move up to um, closer to certainty. It's probable. It's likely. I think it will. It hasn't yet, right? The yet is implying that it will happen, right? So there's another sort of phase. I could have maybe like bracketed a bit, but it's not that important. Then we go into it hasn't yet to it will, it is happening, I have, and it is. We're in time of now, it's current. We know it is. It's true because we're in it. It's going on, right? You look outside, oh, it's raining. You don't have to look at the fucking weather. It's raining. You know. And the last two, to it did, and I had. Those two tiny little words, right? Now we switch temporal into the past. Ooh, this is great. This is a good segue to upcoming life map workshop. It did, it had. So this is past tense. it happened. It exists. It not only exists, it was back there. So when we're talking about creating possibilities in life, which is going to feel the most powerful creating stuff? It's impossible for me to make $1 million versus I can't make $1 million versus I'd like to make $1 million versus to it's probable I'll make $1 million versus I haven't made $1 million yet versus I have $1 million versus I made $1 million. If we're just looking simply at manifestation, just results in life, which one of those feels the most certain, the most unarguable withable?
Made $1 million.
I made.
Yeah, right. The past tense. You already did. It's there. So, are you guys catching on to the possibility kind of about the life map, right? We're not saying, oh, I want this to happen. I hope it happens. You write it down and speak it as if it happens.
But you're recommending to speak it as it is happening now and not in the past tense, right? Like not I
For the life
made.
map, almost it's more like past tense in the life map, right? It's 2 year, right? 2 years from now, I've made this amount of money. I have this house. I went here on this trip. Not everything. There's stuff that, according to your timelines, like I'm currently building the house.
Okay.
It'll be done in a year. A year later, the house is built. But you can see that there's just a whole chunk of these normal phrases that most people use. You just want out of. Impossible is deleted out of my vocabulary. Failure, these words, it's taken years to do this, and I've had to do it through embodied earned experience and wisdom because it's like I failed so many times and I've learned so much from that. Oh yeah, of course I get it. I'm not scared of it anymore. I've been homeless twice. Great, take it all away. I got this all in here. I'll do something else. Don't know what. We'll find out. We'll find out it's a good one. Different context, but you see how as I talk about that, it defines my reality. Oh my God, I'm so scared. I'm gonna lose everything. Oh no, they're gonna take it from me. It's never enough. Oh, I'm gonna lose everything. Oh, I've worked so much. No, I go into curiosity, right? Oh, we'll find out. We'll see. Probably hear me saying that like in the groups, and probably girlfriend probably hears me say it a lot more. We'll find out. We'll see. Are you gonna do it? I don't know. We'll find out. What's gonna happen? How's this food gonna be? Well, let's find out. I mean, do you feel the life in that? Is the food gonna be good? I don't know. Looks good. Seems like a good idea. All right, let's find out. Okay. Oh, was not good. Okay. All right. Go somewhere else. I just learned. I learned not to go to that restaurant. Had an experience. Next time, maybe there's something. Oh, I noticed in this restaurant they did this. Okay. Well, when I look at the pictures on Google Maps next time, whatever it is. But it's just you just start listening to your language. It defines your world. Do you want to live a life that's just curious and you explore and you're at adventures and there's no scarcity and you're just not taking it personal and it's just here we are, okay. Versus, oh no, we can't do that. Oh no, I'm not sure. No, I don't think so. Or maybe, yeah, it could. Yeah, no, yeah, I don't know. No, that's not worth it. No, no, let's just never go anywhere ever again. I think Elaine, I believe this was with you, right? Just opening yourself up to life, to possibilities. know this may be a little back, but
Yes, very much so. And then just having a partner that was more into the negative than in the positive. And I think I always felt, conflict within myself because he couldn't be positive or, yeah, he was just one side of the coin. Basically, if there were two sides to a coin to everybody, he just had one side. And I've always felt in myself that words are powerful, that they're meaningful, that they carry weight. And I really see that in my own life, and even going through this work, how, you know, I just feel that words create your choice, and then the choices create your life, and it's
and
beautiful.
and
Yeah.
even how you, yeah, yeah, yes.
Right.
I mean,
Yes,
just it's the same word, but it's two different words, right?
it is. I can't believe that the significance of how things are said, and
Yeah, that's
yeah,
the energy, that's the feeling behind it. That's like 90% of it. Yeah. But
wow.
but still that 10%, there's a lot of power in that 10%.
Yeah.
So, all right, guys. Anything final thoughts before we wrap up?
I was just thinking with that too, Andrew, it needs to be true. Like I'm remembering going to dinner with people who, like, if I said I didn't like that or it was too spicy or whatever, like I spoke my experience, they would judge me as being a negative person, right? Because they everything was great.
Mm.
That was
Yeah.
great,
Yeah.
right? Like it was just not their all of life is great wasn't true. Like it wasn't authentic.
Yeah. Well, that's that because they're in psychological inflation.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's exactly right. I wouldn't necessarily, I'm not sure about the true thing because there's a way to do it to speak things into existence. Like if you look scientifically, well, that's not true. But
Right.
there are things that physically, according to the facts of the current time space continuum, is not
Right.
true.
Right.
But a feeling, an embodied knowing is true. It just might not, reality around us might not have fully caught up with it yet. So that's the one distinction I would say. It's also one of the most powerful things here. If you want to know about that, come to the workshop.
Yeah. Yeah.
um, but what you were talking about is really this psychological inflation, right? It's people that are afraid of the negative because they're out of relationship with the negative. It's not negative. You're just reporting the details. I didn't like that. It was too spicy. If you're like, that was too spicy. Oh God, the food's never good. Oh, I can't. Yeah, that's crap. That's a crap magnet. That's a complainer. But I did this visiting a partner's family, and there was some stuff there during the holidays that no one slaved over. They just brought the cheese. I was like, oh, this cheese is not nearly as good as this other cheese that we had. They didn't fucking make the cheese. They just fucking randomly picked it up at the store. And everybody's like, oh, you said something wasn't good? Like, nobody in the family ever said anything didn't taste good. It was just like, oh my God, it was just massive codependence. It wasn't like, but I'm like, man, you guys gotta start telling the truth or else nobody's gonna know. You're gonna keep buying it. And it's like, stop. You gotta know if it's. I didn't complain. I didn't say, what the fuck is wrong with you buying this shitty cheese? No, I just said, oh, this isn't as, that's not my favorite. But this is how people take it, right? We just take it so personal. Oh my God. I'm not complaining. I'm not mean. I'm just saying I didn't like the fucking cheese. I didn't put it in your face. I just said, oh, I don't like, this isn't as good. But it's just, that kind of environment, everybody's keeping everybody back under the guise of love and being kind and being nice. It's not the worst, but it's also, man, just everybody's held back because nobody has a reference point for the truth. I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to eat bad cheese the rest of my life. Life's too short to eat bad cheese. Gotta get that.
That's the title of your next book, Andrew. Life's too short to eat bad cheese. By Andrew Daniel.
Yeah, how to tell the truth and not piss your in-laws off.
My daughter.
One page, you can't.
That's a paradox. Yeah, that's right.
Good luck. Page 2, good luck.
Trick question. It's a trick question.
Yeah. It's a trap. All right, guys, we'll see you next week or this weekend. We got a spot left, so
great
you guys want to sign up. We'll see you this weekend.
Before we go, Andrew, have you updated the life map document?
Not yet, no.
Okay, all right.
My
Take care, everyone.
daughter wanted me to few more words that I've been learning. Yacht and sleigh. I'm learning them.
Yeah, you go out there and slay.
Yeah,
Slay. It's like kicking ass. Like
you are slay. Well, Elaine's playing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying
that's
to
sick.
remember what it means.
Yeah,
you're killing it. You're killing it.
You're killing it. You're murdering it. It's sick, Elaine.
Yeah, you're destroying, mate.
Yeah, you're a nasty girl. Yeah. Okay. Bye, guys.
All right. Take care, everyone.
All right. Take care.
Bye.